My name's Terry Campbell, and this is the Weekly Voice. This week we're going to be talking about water. Now, here in the San Angelo, we have a water shortage problem. And they've been telling us for years that our water shortage problem is from the drought. Well, that's really not true. Because if you go back, which I have, and looked at all of the water charts since 1940 to the present day, we have had a gradual increase of rain. But we've had a gradual decrease of inflow into our reservoirs. Now, that basically says that, well, let's back up a little bit. The reason why we're getting less water flowing into our reservoirs than we have rainfall is because of the way the farmers are now plowing the agricultural management. They are now plowing their fields around and terracing so that when it rains, it holds the water and doesn't allow it to rain off. We've also got a problem with salt cedar and the mesquite. And the mesquite trees, that these two plants, they're all over the place and they suck a lot of water. There's also, with the soil and water management programs we got going on, and also the storm water runoff management to prevent flooding, it also prevents it from flowing into our streams. So even if we have normal rainfall like forever, we would still need to augment our water because we're going to run out. Because right now we only have about 18 months worth of water supply left. Because all of our reservoirs combined, we're down, we're about 12.4% of our capacity right now. And this is just because basically, regardless if we get normal rainfall, it's not going to be enough. We're going to have to get water from somewhere. Now, the city council back several years ago decided that, they realized that yes, we are going to have to get some water from somewhere. And that's when they let a contract to Carrillo engineers to bring water from the Hickory Aquifer into San Angelo. Now, this project is at a cost of about $120 million, of which us citizens of San Angelo are going to be paying over the next few years, or more than a few years. At any rate, because what this contract is, it's for a 62-mile, 30-inch pipeline running from basically up around Brady all the way to San Angelo. Now, what is this water going to cost us? No one has actually really said, but I got a hold of a set of charts that if you go down and if you subtract out the debt service, which is paying off the $120 million, because it's amortized out, then the cost per 1,000 gallons turns out to be about $3.29 per 10,000 gallons. Now, that isn't really a bad price, but the problem is this water has radium in it. And actually, if you go back, this is not new. If you go back to 2000, 2002, the San Angelo City Council at that time had a study done of the Hickory Aquifer and found out that it had a radioactive component of radium that was 35 to 38 picocurads per liter. And rightly so back then, because it wasn't that extreme. They decided, no, we are not going to bring that water to San Angelo, and they didn't. So they rejected the plan back in 2002. Okay, so now we are going to, but now we're bringing the water in. So now we have to figure out a way to get the radium out of it. Well, first let me explain where the radium comes from. Now, radium is a natural, it's just a natural element. Now, what you have is, you have uranium-238. When it decays, it becomes radium-226. Now, of course, everyone that's been around a while knows that uranium-238 was the active ingredients in the atomic bomb that we dropped on Hiroshima. Now, that decays into uranium-226. But now, uranium-228, radium-228, it comes from thorium-232 when it decays. Now, back to radium-226, it has a half-life of 1,600 years, which says it's going to be radioactive for a very long time. Okay, now, and that's about 90% of the radium in our water that we're getting is the 226. Now, the 228 only has a half-life of about 5 3/4 years, so it'll decay faster. Now, to complete this process, the radium will decay more. When it decays, it turns into radioactive argon gas and is absorbed into the atmosphere, and stable lead. So that's the complete process from uranium-238 all the way to lead. But now, we've got to figure out how to get this stuff out. But first, let me back up a little bit. I read in the paper the other day that that the San Angelo water utilities were planning on blending this water. Well, they wasn't. Let me back up. I read in the paper that they had tested the pressure tested the pipeline coming here, and now the pipeline basically passed the test and it's good to go. Now, I was under the impression that, okay, they're going to let that set until they build the processing plant, which is going to take about a year to year and a half to build it, to take the radium out of the water. Well, no, I found out that they're planning on blending this water immediately. Now, I've got a problem with that. Now, my question to Mr. Dixon is, does our existing plant have a large water containment tank that they can measure 1 part radium water to 8 parts of our surface water, and then mix it thoroughly before they pump it into our water distribution system? Or are they going to try to blend it dynamically by just merging 2 pipes and regulating the flow and trying to blend it dynamically? Now, that process gives me a lot of concern. Now, if they try to use that type of process, I would like for Ricky to ensure me that there will be no place in the entire San Angelo water distribution system that has over 5 picocurads per liter of radiation in it. I want him to personally guarantee that that won't happen, because I don't think he can do it if he's dynamically blending. Now, okay, now let's move on a little bit. Now, back in July, no, that was in July when that was stated. Let's go back. Okay, in May of 2012, the San Angelo City Council took and signed, or the Water Department actually signed, a contract with Water Remediation Technology, or we'll call them RWT from here on, to remove the radium from the water. Now, what they have is it's a mind processed kind of a medium. It's a clay that is proprietary to RWT. Now, they process in their they signed a understand was a 10-year contract, but WRT personnel is the only ones that's allowed to remove the spent medium and install the new medium, because it is a proprietary process and they don't want to lose control of it. Now, that it's intellectual property rights is what they're talking about, because it is proprietary to their company. Now, the problem is, they quoted that it was going to cost, 59 cents per thousand gallons to remove the radium. Now, I have having some problems with that. That's what was quoted in the paper, because Greg Beavis, a guy from Farmington, Missouri, which I talked to on the phone, which has 12 of these units installed, and it's costing them 94 cents to remove only 10 picocurads of radium from their water, and their cost is 94 cents per 1,000 gallons. Now, we are going to be removing about 34 picocurads to get it down to 3 picocurads before you send it out. Now, that's going to take well, it's a little too, I'm having problems figuring out the cost, because they're in Farmington. When I was talking to the guy, they're only processing about 1.8 million gallons a day, and we're going to be processing $6 million a day. 6 million gallons a day, and they have 12 wellheads, and they have 12 of these units, one on each wellhead. Now, we are going to have one unit processing 6 million gallons, which is over 3 times what they're processing, and they've got 12 units. Now, this, I'm afraid that we may be being used as a test case to see if they can do something that's this large. Okay, Cat just signaled me that I'm running out of time, so I'm going to skip down. Okay, I'm going to skip the CRMWD portion, and you can just read it in the article, because I don't trust those guys either, because they don't really do it. Well, Ben's, we are going to have to get water from somewhere. There's one other thing that we can do. There's a company called VV Water, the water company, that says they will sell us water at $3.80 per 1,000 gallons. It's $3.80 per 1,000 gallons of good, clean water that has no radium in it. It's spring water. But the problem is, you have to sign an agreement to buy 15,000 acre feet of water per year, which that actually turns out to be about 60% of what we currently use. But see, once they, and it's a regional deal, once they get all of the different towns in our region between here and Odessa signed up, then it'll take 3 years before they start delivering water. And this looks like it may be our only chance to actually come up with a permanent solution to our water problem. Well, signing off, this is, I'm going to be watching what's going on, and hopefully the city council and our water department will do the right thing. And God bless, and goodbye.